Welcome to Site Flash.
Site Flash.
Site Flash.
Site Flash.
Site Flash.
Site Flash. Welcome to Site Flash.
Welcome Site Flash. Welcome siteflash.org.
Tell you what, a person who believes that this wasn't set up by our own government is an idiot.
Assalamu alaikum.
It's the assignment.
Hello, my name is Mr. Quick. I would like to welcome you.
Okay. Welcome to Mr. Quick's online video lesson. And today we're going to talk about something very, very easy and light today. We're going to talk about subjects and predicates. And I know this is going to be kind of easy for a lot of people. And I know you're probably asking, why are we going to cover subjects and predicates? Well, it's very simple. You know, you'll be surprised at how much you can learn from going back and covering those basic things. And oftentimes it's those basic things that cause us to make errors in our sentence writing. So I want to cover this. I want to talk about subjects and predicates to make sure where everyone is has an understanding of what this very elemental basic thing when it comes to sentence structure is. Okay. What is a subject, and of course what is a predicate? We have to start here when we're talking about writing proper sentences. Every complete sentence contains two parts, a subject and a predicate. Yes, the subject is what or whom the sentence is about, while the predicate tells something about the subject. This is very important because in a sentence we must have something, and we must tell the reader something about that something. And in this case, we're talking about the subject. The subject is whatever the sentence is about, whether the sentence is about a dog, a human, or an airplane. We must include that thing in the sentence, and we must be able to give the reader some information about it. Even if something is small, is telling us the boy ran, at least we know the boy did something. We couldn't have a sentence with just the boy, because we need to know what the boy is doing. Yes. Here we go. Let's look at an example here. Here we have Judy and her dog. Yes, Judy and her dog run on the beach every morning. Yes, and it's pretty easy now because I have it highlighted in green here. But of course the subject in this sentence is going to be Judy and her dog. And the predicate in this sentence is going to be run. Run. Now we know what they did while they were on the beach. They ran. I know this is pretty difficult. I know this is hard for you. I know this is like rocket science. Be patient with me. We'll try to figure it out. Yes, Judy and her dog run on the beach every morning. First, find the verb. Usually, if you're trying to find out what the subject of the sentence is, the easiest way to do that is to find the verb. Find the verb. When you find the verb, usually what comes before it is going to be the subject. Yes. If you find the verb, all you have to do is ask who or what and look before it, and that's usually going to be where your subject is. The answer, of course, is, in this case, as far as the subject is concerned, is Judy and her dog. Moving right along here, let's find the verb. Let's play the find the verb game. We have some happy little kids here with some popcorn. We spilled popcorn on the floor, and I know mommy wasn't happy about that. But the question is not whether or not mommy is happy. The question here is, where is the verb in this sentence? And I'll give you a second to figure that out. 1 second. Okay, you figured it out? Good. Here we go. I think the verb is spilled. So I'm going to ask, spilled. Who spilled? Well, before spilled, we have the word we. We have the word we. So therefore, that must be my subject. So spilled, I guess, is the verb here. So let's guess. Let's see. It is spilled. Now, of course, wouldn't it be wonderful if life was always this simple? But it's not, and of course we know that. So, but this is a very basic, elemental way of determining or finding very simple things in a sentence, such as a subject and a verb. Yes, I know you can do it, but you know, humor me for a few moments here. Now let's find the subject. Now like I said before, that if we found the verb, it should be just as easy finding the subject, because now we have to ask who, and in this case, who spilled, and we look before the verb and we find this word we, and I think that's the subject. Yes, it is we. We spilled popcorn on the floor, and these two little kids spilled popcorn on the floor that mommy is going to have to sweep up. Okay. Can you find the subject in each of the sentences below? In each sentence below, I want you to look at these sentences and pause the video and see if you can figure out where the subject is in each of these sentences. Okay, now that you paused the video, I hope you did. Here we go. My little brother broke his finger. My little brother broke his finger. His Uncle Bob asked for directions. Those soldiers carried guns. Our babysitters arrived late. Let's see. Let's look at this one. My little brother broke his finger. Well, where do you think the subject is here? Yes, finger, of course not. I don't think it's finger. Let's go to the next sentence here. His Uncle Bob asked for directions. Directions. Yes. No, I don't think that's the subject. Those soldiers carried guns. Guns? That's the noun. Maybe that's the subject. I don't know. I don't think so. Our babysitter arrived late. Well, late, can that be a subject? I don't know. I don't think that's a subject. Well, what do you think? And of course, I know that you paused the video and you wrote it in your notes what words you think are the subjects here. So let's go and let's see for ourselves. First sentence, my little brother broke his finger. And of course, the subject in this sentence was my little brother. And we knew that because we looked for the verb and we found the verb broke. And then we asked who broke. And then we looked before the verb and we found my little brother, and that told us where the subject was, the complete subject here. His Uncle Bob asked for directions. And we looked for the verb asked, and we asked the question who, and we looked before the verb and we found his Uncle Bob. Yes, his Uncle Bob. Those soldiers carried guns. And of course, we looked for the verb carried and we asked the question who or what, and in this case, who. And we looked before the verb and we found those soldiers. Yes, our babysitter arrived late. Arrived. That's the verb. So we asked the question who, and we looked before the verb and we found our subject, our babysitter. When you apply this method, it becomes a very, very easy task finding the subject in a sentence. Yes. Well, now let's take the same sentences and let's find the predicate. The predicate, of course, is the verb or the words that make up the verb string. And let's see, predicate. It tells us something about the subject. My little brother, we already know that my little brother is the subject. So, what other words are telling us about my little brother? Maybe it's broke his finger. I don't know, you can pause the video and write these sentences down and figure it out for yourself. Okay, yes, welcome back. His Uncle Abdullah asked for directions. Yes, I don't remember that being a sentence before, but hey, that's a good sentence anyway. Well, let's see. We knew before that his uncle It was Bob before, but now it's Abdullah. It was the subject. Now we're trying to figure out, well, what do we learn about Uncle Abdullah here? And I think we learned that he asked for directions. Maybe that's the predicate. We'll see in a few moments. Those soldiers carried guns, and here we go. Those soldiers, that's the subject, because we figured that out last time. What did they do? Oh, they carried guns. So maybe that's the predicate. I don't know. We'll see. Our babysitter arrived late, and of course we know in the previously that our babysitter is the subject, so arrived late, maybe it's the predicate. I don't know. Let's see here. My little brother, that's right, broke his finger, and broke his finger, of course, is the predicate. Once you know where the subject is, the predicate, of course, becomes an easy find here. His Uncle Bob asked for directions. What did his Uncle Bob do? His Uncle Bob asked for directions. Yes, the soldiers carried guns. What did the soldiers do? The soldiers carried guns. Our babysitter arrived late, and of course our babysitter is the subject. The question is, what did the babysitter do? Arrived late. So now we see that can be very, very easy finding subjects and predicates if we just apply a simple theorem of finding it. Yes, trying to make it scientific. Okay, trying to make it scientific here. Now let's talk about simple subject. Simple subject. The simple subject and the simple predicate here. Every subject is built around one word, or noun or pronoun, or sometimes more than one word. When all other words are removed, the simple subject is left. Yes. Let me say that again, because I think I said it wrong the first time. Every subject is built around one word, one noun or pronoun, or more than one, a group of them. When all the other words that are not important are removed from the complete subject, you have the simple subject that is left. And let's see an example of this, of course. A piece of chocolate candy would taste great. The complete subject here is a piece of chocolate candy. Yes, but if we moved a and of chocolate candy, if we remove them, because when it comes to the complete subject, they are not as important as piece. And piece, in this case, would definitely be the simple subject. The main word, of course, in the subject is the noun piece. With the other words of the subject, a and of chocolate candy, tell about piece. Tells us what kind of piece. And of course, we have our article here. Yes, and it's telling us in general that a piece of chocolate candy tastes great. We don't need the article here, and we don't need chocolate candy telling us what type of, what kind of, or what piece, or what it is. We don't need that when we're trying to figure out what the simple subject is. The simple subject is peace. Yes, and of course, peace is the simple subject. And here's your people down here having some candy, and that would really taste great right now, having some chocolate candy right now. But where is the simple subject? Here we go. Here go some sentences here. We're back at our sentences. You already have them written down. You can write them down again. You can pause the video for a second. 1 second. Okay, now back. Now that you have written the sentences down once again, let's try to find the simple subject in each of these sentences. Well, we already know that my little brother is the subject, with the complete subject. Now we're trying to figure out which of these words would you consider being the most important word in the complete subject. Would it be my little or brother? And I'll let you think about that. You can underline it, circle it, wherever you're doing right now with your notes there. His Uncle Bob asked for directions. Well, we already know his Uncle Bob is the subject. Which of these would you consider the simple? His Uncle Bob. Well, you want to do underline, circle it, highlight it. Have the case is soldier, complete subject here, those soldiers. The question is, which of these words would you consider being the simple subject? Those are soldiers. Our babysitter arrived late. We already know the subject is our babysitter. The complete subject is our babysitter. Which of the words do you think will be the simple subject? Our or babysitter? Well, now that you did all that figuring out, I know it's hard. I know you took some time to see what the answer is. First sentence here, my little brother broke his finger. So brother in this sentence is considered the simple subject. Very interesting. His Uncle Bob. And Uncle Bob, of course, is the simple subject, the complete subject being his Uncle Bob. Yes, did you circle that? You circled that? Okay, that's great. That's great. Those soldiers, and of course, those soldiers being the subject. Soldiers, the simple subject. You circle soldiers? Great. All right. Awesome. Totally awesome. Our babysitter arrived late. Babysitter, of course, being the simple subject. Our babysitter being the complete subject. I know you circled, underlined, highlighted. Babysitter, good for you. This is excellent. Well, oh boy, a lot of things going on here. A simple predicate. Now we're talking about the simple predicate, because before we looked for the complete predicate, now we want to know about the simple predicate. A simple predicate is always. When you hear these always are always, and some other words that let you know that this is something that happens every time, that's a rule that you definitely need to write down. A simple subject is always the verb or verbs that links up with the subject. Very interesting here. Well,
I'm happy.
okay, a piece of chocolate candy would taste great. Very interesting. Here's our sentence again. This time we're looking at the predicate, the complete predicate, and we're trying to determine where is the simple predicate. And here we say the simple predicate is would taste. Yes, the simple predicate is would taste. In other words, the verb of the sentence. In this case, this is the verb of the sentence, the complete verb here. Now, here are our sentences again. I know you don't want to write them down again, but you should write them down again. And let's try to find the simple predicate in these sentences here. I give you a second to write it down. Okay, second's over. Here we go. My little brother broke his finger. Now, we already know what a predicate is. Broke his finger. Now, you have to determine which one of these words would you consider the simple predicate here. His Uncle Bob asked for directions, and then we already know asked for directions is the predicate. The question is, which one of these words is the simple predicate? Those soldiers carried guns, and we talked about it before, is the predicate. Now you have to decide which one of these words is the simple predicate. Our babysitter arrived late being the predicate. Now you have to decide which of these words is the simple predicate. Okay, give you a few minutes. Okay, a few minutes are gone, dear. Pause the video if you need to. Here we go. Now we're going to figure this out. Let's start with our first sentence here. My little brother broke his finger. So in this case, broke is the simple predicate. All right. His Uncle Bob asked for directions. In this case, ask is the simple predicate. Those soldiers carried guns, and of course in this case, carried being the simple predicate, carried guns being the complete predicate. Yes, our babysitter arrived late, and arrived late is the complete predicate, and of course arrived, of course, is the simple predicate. If you notice, each one of these simple predicates here is the verb of the sentence. You look for the verb or the complete verb, and you will find your simple predicate. This is how it usually goes down in the world of sentence structure. All right. Okay. Okay, we don't want that. It's a video, so you don't need to know about the video. Finding the compound subject. A sentence may have a compound subject, a simple subject made up of more than one noun or pronoun. Yes, a compound subject is a simple subject made up of more than one noun or pronoun. If you know your compound nouns and you know what we're talking about, but let's look at some examples. How do we find it? Can you find the compound subjects in this sentence? Read, pause the video and read and write the sentence. Please write the sentence so that you can underline the compound subject. Okay, now let me read it to you. Team pennants, rock, posters, and family photographs covered the boys' bedroom walls. And you can see all the stuff he got and all. Well, his room is dirty. I know your room is not dirty. Not like that. You're right. Okay, here we go. Moving right along here. Here's the room again. Here's the dirty room again. Now, are you ready to know where the compound subject is? You ready? You ready to do it? You ready? You sure you ready? Okay, here we go. Pennants, posters, and photographs. And if you notice that we only underlined the nouns. We didn't underline the adjectives that go with these nouns. We only underlined the nouns. And in this case, this is the compound subject. Pennants, posters, photographs. They all make up the compound subject here. And this is the compound subject in this particular sentence. Yes. Okay, moving right along here. Here's another one. Can you do it? Can you do it? Pause the video, write it down. You know the deal. You know what to do. And let me read it to you. Her uncle and she walked slowly through the art gallery and admired the beautiful pictures exhibited there. Well, can you find the compound subject in this sentence? Anyway, pause the video if you need to. We're going to move along here. Here we go. You ready? You ready to do it? You ready? I know you're ready. I'm ready. Everybody ready? Here we go. Bataya. Uncle and she is the compound subject in this sentence. Uncle and she. And if you notice, we didn't use the possessive we didn't include the possessive pronoun her. We didn't include it. Yes. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Moving right along. Now I want you to write these sentences down. I want you to write these sentences down that we need to find the compound subject in each of these sentences. So pause the video and write. Okay, all right. Here we go. My little brother and my cousin broke their fingers. Okay. These are the same sentences we wrote before with a little twist to them, to include the compound subjects here. His Uncle Bob and Aunt Betty asked for directions, and if you apply the method that we use to find the subject in a sentence, then it's pretty easy to know his Uncle Bob and Aunt Betty is the subject. But now we're trying to find out what makes up the compound subject in this particular sentence. Those soldiers and agents carried guns. Yes, our babysitter and her friend arrived late. Take a pause. Take a pause for the cause. Write the sentences, underline the compound subjects. 1 second. There we go. Okay, we're ready to get to work. Here we go. First sentence. Whoa, looky here. My little brother and cousin is the compound subject in this sentence. Whoa, very interesting. Number 2, Uncle Bob and Aunt Betty is the compound subject in this sentence. You see? It's easy. It's 1, 2, 3. Soldiers, agents. Soldiers, agents is the compound subject in this sentence. Very beautiful. It's very beautiful. Babysitter and friend is the compound subject in the sentence. If you notice, in all of these sentences, we didn't include those words, those extra words that are contained in the subject. For instance, in sentence 1, we didn't include the possessive pronoun my and little, which is an adjective. We didn't include that. And we didn't include the possessive pronoun here, my, again, because they are acting as adjectives, giving us information about the noun. And if you look at each of these sentences, we did that. Things that are very particular to us understanding the noun. For instance, Uncle Bob. We need uncle. We need Uncle before Bob because that is essential for us to understand understand the noun itself. And Aunt Betty. Yes, these are essential words for the noun, and we have to include those when we're looking at the noun itself. And yes, soldiers, agents, babysitter, friends, if you notice the words that are around them we did not use, take a minute, pause the video and look at that, because it's very important when you're trying to find the compound subject or the nouns themselves that make up the compound subject. Yes, yes. Well, if we talked about the compound subject, we got to talk about the compound predicate. Ain't no other way. Here we go. A compound predicate, of course, is more than one verb relating to the same subject. Well, more than one verb. So we're looking for a bunch of verbs here? I don't know. You tell me. Okay. My mother mopped and scrubbed the kitchen floor. Of course, I know you don't make your mother do it. I know you do it yourself and tell your mother, go relax, Mom. I'm going to do all the cleaning. I know you do that. So at any rate, if you didn't do that, then mother mopped and scrubbed the kitchen floor. Now we're trying to figure out what is the compound predicate here. And we know the compound predicate is made up of more than one verb. So where are the verbs? This is the question we have to ask here. Where are the verbs in this sentence? Verbs make, subjects do things. What did Mom do? It's the question you ask. Answer that question with these words. You got your verbs. Here we go. You ready? You ready? You ready? I'm ready. You ready? I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, here we go. Mop and scrub being the verbs, and they make up the compound predicate here. Yes, yes, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Moving right along. I know I'm moving kind of fast. If you want to write the sentence down, pause the video. Here are our beautiful sentences again, slightly altered to include compound predicates here. Here we go. My little brother bruised and broke his finger. Yes, yes, we already, if you follow the method, then you can easily find out where the subject is, and of course that leaves you with the predicate. Now you need to look at the predicate and find the verbs, and then you have your compound verbs there. Then you have your compound predicate. His Uncle Bob looked and asked for directions. Yes. Those soldiers carried and used guns. Our babysitter overslept and arrived late. Pause the video, write the sentences. Yes, write the sentences, underline the compound predicates or the words that you think make up the compound predicate, and come back in 1 second. Okay, welcome back. Here we go. Sentence number 1. Well, look at here. Bruised and broke is the compound predicate here, because that's telling us what the subject did. The little brother bruised and broke. He did two things, two verbs, compound predicate. Here we go. Here's Uncle Bob looked and asked. Looked and asked is, of course, the predicate, the compound predicate. Looked and asked are verbs. Here we go. Needing to look no further. That's the compound predicate. Those soldiers carried and used guns. Carried and used, of course, are the verbs we're looking for. They make up the compound predicate. Overslept and arrived. If you did it, if you put your hands up like this, if you did it, if you got them all right, put them out like that. Yeah, okay. Here's the compound predicate, and they are the verbs that make up the compound predicate. If you notice, when looking for the compound predicate, we left off the other words in the predicate itself. Here's 4 guns late. Take a look at that. See how we did it. You can do it. Yes. Well, that's going to be it for us today with subjects and predicates. I know you had a good time. I know it was easy, but hey, life is easy sometimes. Sometimes it's easy, and you need to go ahead and do that, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
tell you what, a person who believes that this wasn't set up by our own government is an idiot.